from the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com. You're listening to The Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
Everybody ready now? Are we all ready to go?
I'm always ready.
What are you doing with your camera, Craig? Why is he touching that?
He's a little off center. He's perfect now, though.
I know what I'm doing, dude.
Dude.
I am taking so much pleasure in your grief right now.
Fuck you, Vinny. You're gonna get it today.
Worth it.
Oh, you wanna know the other good one, you fucking idiot?
Sure.
This isn't your fault. But still, I'm gonna blame it on you.
But it is.
It is today.
So I decided on Sunday I was gonna do a nice, friendly Art Bell tribute.
I recall this.
I was gonna play his music going into the show. I was gonna play his music going out of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's copyrighted fucking music.
And?
So, like, our entire video channel has been shut down since Sunday.
I see.
Fuck you, Craig.
That's horrible.
Anybody else? God damn it.
I
tried to do something nice and look what happens. So yeah, we've had no video. Rob flew the fuck home from Hawaii, came over here, half dead, to do the show, which hasn't been up yet. The whole fucking... They didn't just say, we're going to pull this video.
They shut down your channel.
Shut down the entire channel.
Yeah.
We're trying to get it put back up again.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're a video.f4wonline.com subscriber, hopefully it's back soon. I don't know what's going on. We're doing our best. This show, one of these days, is going to be up. So on top of that and all of this other bullshit, Craig moving the camera around, literally
anyway.
trying to eat the mic, sticking his eyeball into the mic.
Brian,
That's not how you eat.
Do you know what germs are?
I'm not familiar.
Okay, so we go to WrestleMania weekend, and there's 30 guys spitting into that mic that Craig's in front of right now. I turn around, he's got his eyeball pressed right into the microphone.
Now, was this the same WrestleMania where there was a measles threat?
Yeah! Jesus. It is the same WrestleMania with the measles threat. Yeah. 30 people have spit into that mic, and Craig's rubbing it all over his eyeball. I'm just trying, this is for your own health, Craig.
Whatever.
Just trying to help you out here. And then these shows. Is there ever a good Attitude Era Raw?
No. Not in 99.
What's going on?
They've given up.
No, they haven't.
Somehow they won by giving up.
This show is so horrendous. And you know what?
It needs Ritalin.
So, Vince Russo always said, nobody wants to watch long matches.
I disagree.
No, Craig, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
This fucking Raw show has so conditioned people to 2-minute matches with bullshit finishes and 9 million angles that when they actually run a long match, nobody gives a shit.
No.
He created a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
It's not that fans don't want to watch long matches, it's that you have created a show that has conditioned them to be bored shitless for long matches. So what we have is a show with a bunch of horrible short matches, 9,000 angles, a bunch of shitty finishes, and tonight we had Triple H versus Mick Foley in a fucking match nobody cared about.
Right.
This show's terrible.
It was an awful show.
Nitro was way better.
I love Nitro.
Think about that.
This Nitro was awesome.
This was a Nitro that opened up with Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko versus the Armstrong brothers. Now,
the lesser of the two Armstrong brothers, Scott and Steve.
Granted,
Not Brad and Brian.
Scott and Steve are good wrestlers.
Yes.
But there's no reason that anybody should give a shit about them. But you know what? Nitro has conditioned fans to thinking that WCW sucks. Okay? But it has not conditioned them into not liking professional wrestling.
Right.
Which Raw has. So
It hasn't recovered in 2018 from that, by the way.
no. So on Nitro, what you've got is, it is an uncool company. It is a company that, as the next 2 years wear on, fans are going to stop buying tickets. They think WCW sucks. and is going to eventually go out of business. That's what they've conditioned these fans into thinking. However, they still love their wrestling. And so when fucking Scott and Steve Armstrong, when the fuck's the last time they've been on WCW television?
I think the cat beat them up by himself.
Yeah, like a long time ago, one bullshit nothing match. They come out here and they go like 12 minutes with Benoit and Malenko. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking awesome match. Mm-hmm. The fans are going crazy. They love this match.
Yes. For Scott and Steve Armstrong.
Let's begin.
So Scott and Steve Armstrong versus Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. And as you noted, and I realized I took a shot at Scott and Steve Armstrong here, but as Jim Cornette once said, there's never been an Armstrong that didn't know how to wrestle. And these Armstrongs were a perfect opening match babyface tag team. They had all their spots, they got a little flurry of offense at the start, and then the Horsemen cheated to cut them off. And God bless Scott and Steve, but they were geeks, and the Horsemen were stars, and even when the Horsemen cheated, it was the stars winning, so the place went crazy.
Well, it's the Horsemen being the Horsemen.
Yeah, that's also true.
These are wrestling fans who love the Four Horsemen.
Right. The only time the fans are not into this match specifically is when an overwhelming Goldberg chant broke out.
Sure.
Because he's Goldberg.
But it didn't ruin the match, and they got back into the wrestling.
Exactly. And eventually they had the heat on Steve for a long time. Scott made a big comeback. Steve stopped to brawl with Arn on the floor. Now, first I was laughing as Arn was beating his ass, which was funny. But then Steve made a comeback, and Arn Anderson, who has nerve damage, which has forced him to retire, took a bump on the floor.
He's been doing that for weeks now.
Yeah. Eventually, Dean got a hold of Scott, I believe, yes, and finished him off with the butterfly powerbomb and a Texas cloverleaf. This ruled.
This is the best Nitro tag match in months, maybe the best Nitro match in months, for all I know.
Charles Robinson is the ref for this match, and he is the Horseman's referee.
Yes.
And, well, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but dastardly heel is Charles Robinson.
He's...
Yeah, the Horsemen are supposed to be healed.
Why must there always be a crooked ref in WCW at all times?
Right.
We did the whole Nick Patrick saga. Then once he gets straightened out, here's Charles Robinson.
Scott Dickinson. You already forgot about that.
I did forget about Scott Dickinson.
There was no follow-up to it.
Because there was no payoff to it. It sucked.
That was so stupid.
Yeah.
Not everything is good in WCW here. Just the
Tell
wrestling.
me more. Oh, this is not the show to complain. Roddy Piper was backstage looking over some contracts. He signed them both, he said. Randy Savage arrived. Doug Dillinger said, Ric Flair has barred you from the building. But Piper intervened, said, I am commissioner. I will take responsibility for this. And he let Savage and Gorgeous George in.
Yep.
Mean Gene brings DDP out for an interview.
Okay, hold on. Vinny. For weeks now, I've been asking you if DDP is a babyface or a heel. Okay?
Yeah.
You keep telling me he's a heel.
Right?
Okay. It was not until the very end of the show that you were proven right.
Pretty much.
Where have you been getting that he is a heel?
I mean, he was still mad at Scott Steiner, but it was mostly the way he did the comeback. What did he say in his comeback promo? I forget. He's been a dick.
Yeah, but he's DDP. He's from Jersey.
But
he's like Mark.
He's been a grumpy dick.
Okay.
He was a happy dick for the years before.
I couldn't figure out. I mean, he's, gonna...
So many jokes.
He did in this promo say that he was not going to face Goldberg here tonight. That was a heel move. Mm-hmm.
He did the same thing last week.
Yes. But then Goldberg comes out, they go nose-to-nose, and Paige agrees to put the title on the line. So, again, is he a babyface or a heel?
So, and to be fair, my takeaway from the show closing angle is that I have no idea who the babyfaces and heels are. I know Goldberg is a babyface, and I'm pretty sure Paige is a heel, and the rest of it, I have no fucking clue.
I think Hogan and Nash are babyfaces.
Right. But their friends in the NWO are heels.
Yes.
It's the B team, the black and white are heels. Scott Steiner's a heel, but everyone loves him. It's all Flair is a heel. Everyone loves him. I don't know. It's very complicated and convoluted.
It's a convoluted mess,
and it's not good.
No, it's not good at all. The other thing is Paige. Even though they showed here was in the context of the match, they had told us that at Spring Stampede he was the one who had injured Hulk Hogan's knee, and he stole Bret Hart's ring post figure 4, but. Like I said, it was in the context of trying to win the world title. So this is not so much evil as it is just ruthless. Regardless, the majority of this promo was drowned out by Goldberg chants. They were in Gainesville, Georgia. I think I've said this like 3 weeks in a row, but they need to do every show from this place.
Well, Goldberg was also getting a title match later in the evening, and the champion was Diamond Dallas Page.
That's also true.
So I think that everybody was figuring, well, obviously Goldberg's going to win the title here tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, Page said, "No, I will not defend the title tonight. It's not going to happen." He started to say why, but then Goldberg came out. Gene screamed, and I mean screamed, "I'm out of here!" He left, and Goldberg and Page went nose to nose, as Bryan said, and Shivani somehow determined in this that Page had accepted Goldberg's challenge. Piper met with David Flair and his bottle of Surge.
Gosh.
They confirmed the contract, whatever it was, covered 72 hours just for observation.
Yes.
And David signed the contract and laughed.
You know, I wrote a book about the death of WCW.
You never mentioned that.
The new and improved version, 40% larger. This book is so goddamn long. You read it, it's like reading the Bible. And actually, it's like...
It's not like reading the Bible.
It is like reading the Bible, Vinny.
No,
it's that thick. I wrote it in the King's English. Point of this is, this shit was a blink of the eye.
Yeah.
This fucking guy's in the mental hospital next week.
Yes.
And then he's going to be like buried in the desert.
Right.
Like this shit is just like... You think about the Attitude Era as like an era. Like the Pleistocene era.
What's that again?
It was 6 years.
It's where the dinosaurs lived.
And we're almost at the end of it.
Yes.
That's how you pronounce it.
Sure.
Pleistocene.
So,
Is it not? Do I have to look this up?
I think it's just Pleistocene.
Yeah, I said it right.
You said Pleistocene.
No, Pleistocene.
Do it again. Pleistocene. Not Pleistocene.
Pleistocene.
Yeah.
Pleistocene.
Pleistocene. I was
The
close.
fucking point of this is, this era is very short. You've been watching it from the beginning. It's almost over.
Yeah. But as much stuff happened in this very short era as actually happened in the real Pleistocene era.
That is true.
That's why it feels so long.
There were dinosaurs.
There were
There
dinosaurs.
were cavemen.
Yes, we call them Jim Duggan and
Jim Duggan.
yeah,
He's
dinosaurs.
the low on the list of dinosaurs I was thinking of, but
We just
anyway.
we can make a Bobby Heenan joke about his brain.
Yeah.
So after the break, Gene interviews Paige backstage just to make it clear what was not made clear in the promo segment. Paige says, yes, the title will be on the line. He has never backed down from a challenge in his life. And then Gene has them show the footage of Paige putting Hogan in the ring post figure 4, but Paige does not stick around to talk about what happened after that. Psychosis versus Juventud Guerrera versus Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Blitzkrieg.
Allow me for one moment here. I realize that this was 19 years ago, to the day almost, and it's not fair to go back and rate matches then like we rate them here today. Maybe I'd have to go back and read the figure 4 from this week and find out what I thought about this match. Our own Dave Meltzer called this a super 4-way. He said that Blitzkrieg was one of the most improved wrestlers he'd ever seen. What the fuck match was he watching? This fucking match. Am I the only one?
They did every wrestling move in the world.
They did 9 million moves.
Yes.
And they kept going.
Yes.
And they kept going.
Yes.
And they lost the crowd.
That is true.
Blitzkrieg that hit a twisting 450.
Yes.
It was broken up.
Yes.
They kept going.
Yeah.
The fans began to boo because they fucking kept going.
This is true.
They fucked up 10,000 spots.
I didn't see that.
They kept going.
That is true.
And then after all of these crazy moves, Psychosis does a leg drop off the top rope and wins. You know what this was? This was the best and worst of pro wrestling all rolled up into one match. Some of this was spectacular. Some of this was complete shit.
Wow.
And it went on as long as the Pleistocene era.
Well, let me start with some of the facts. Nothing you said factual is wrong. I actually timed this out. This went 17 minutes plus the commercial break.
Yes.
This went longer than the tag match before it went to commercial. They did a bunch more stuff. And yes, it is true. 15 minutes into this, the crowd was, and losing interest is kind. There were boring chants. Now,
Yes. That's bad.
well, it is. I was watching this, and I was watching these 4 dudes go a million miles an hour for 20 minutes, kicking each other in the face over and over and over again. I loved it. I thought this match was great.
Well, it was mostly Blitzkrieg and Psychosis kicking each other in the face.
Yeah.
And I think it began when Psychosis is just like, he's just doing something on the mat. Like he's picking up Ray or something, and fucking Blitzkrieg just drop kicks him right in the face. Yeah. And from that point forward, Psychosis decided, I'm going to fucking kick you in the face. And then Blitzkrieg kicked him in the face. They fucking kept kicking each other in the face.
There was a point where Ray makes a cover on somebody, and somebody else kicks him. But he makes a cover, and the camera like zooms in, so you can just see like Ray's head and shoulders, and the guy who's being pinned from like his head down to his waist. And the ref counts 1, and the ref counts 2, and suddenly there are 2 feet flying across the screen through Ray's head, not slowing down, continue to fly across the screen. I screamed and I laughed, which is basically what I want to do in every match. Yes, this went too long. Yes, they did too much stuff. There was a point somebody was like supposed to do a Faymaster and basically just sat down on the guy's head off the top rope. That probably sucked. But hey, they worked their asses off.
Hey, they worked their asses off. I will not take that away from them.
And they beat the shit out of each other.
Okay. As a match, this was terrible.
As a fight, it was great.
It was great if you love to see green guys. Actually, there was only one real green guy, but
yes.
God, Hoovy and Ray, I don't know what they were trying. They fucked it up, and Ray just elbows him right in the face.
Yeah.
What was it at the end there?
I don't care. I saw the elbow.
Dude.
All I know is usually when I see these, I've admitted this went too long, but usually when I see these long 4-way spot fests, they come off as ultra choreographed. And
this wasn't.
No. This was an ugly fight with 4 small angry dudes. And all the fighting was done via flips and kicks. This ruled.
Oh my God, look at this guy.
I love this match.
Dude, no. It was fine.
It was too much.
You know what it was?
I will accept that.
It was too much.
It was too much.
Listen to me.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so there's 2 extremes. Mm-hmm. There's the old 205 Live, where it's a bunch of small men laying on the mat in headlocks for 15 fucking minutes, and everyone's bored out of their skull.
Yes.
Then there's this. Can't we just have like a happy medium?
I will accept that they overshot their target.
If this would have ended 8 minutes in, this would have been a super match.
That's fair.
Sure.
They went 10 extra minutes.
They did factually go twice as long as they probably should have.
You know what this was? This was the end of Raw, where Stone Cold Steve Austin was in a monster truck, and he ran the fuck over The Rock's car, and then he was like, I'm going to run over it again. Mm-hmm. He ran over it a second time. Yes. That's what this was. This was like a train wreck, where the train got in a big wreck, and then they were like, well, let's blow it up.
Now we'll light it on fire.
Sure.
Mean Gene brings Ric Flair out for a promo. So Flair is sucking up to the Florida Gators crowd. He has Florida Gators t-shirt on.
He's supposed to be a fucking heel. He cannot help himself.
Because what Ric Flair loves is college parties.
And college girls.
And college women at college parties drinking college beer. So he's got the Florida Gators t-shirt on, as we will soon learn, Florida Gators boxers on. He's ranting about how great it is to be president. He promises to buy a drink for every single person in the crowd who shows up.
He did say that.
When Piper interrupts. Now, the fans love Flair, so they hate Piper, even though Piper's supposed to be the babyface.
Yeah, Flair goes, I will buy beer for everybody here in this crowd. And Piper shows up and says, you won't be buying these kids any beer. Suddenly, he was dad. They booed the fuck out of
this guy. Well,
he has
kids. He has a lot of kids. So
no, he's their dad.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Piper says Flair's out of his
their
mind.
crazy uncle.
Creepy uncle.
Flair's the guy who graduated 8 years ago and won't leave.
20 years ago. And
he's McConaughey.
Yes, he's what the hell's his name?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Piper says Flair's signing papers without even reading them. Says he's Rick's friend, but Rick needs to step down as president. He talks about a few weeks ago. Piper says you handcuff yourself to the ropes and strip down to your shorts. And Arn says calmly, he explains, I've seen him with his pants off many times. It don't mean anything. It's just Rick. Which is true.
It is true.
So Rick strips to his boxers, declares, I am Ric Flair, the president of the United States. And Gene says, WCW. And Flair says, WCW. So Piper says he has some papers for Gene to read. He doesn't like it, but he will enforce it.
God.
Gene,
Couldn't he have just typed up the gist of it to give to Gene?
Gene reads a long court document, a legal form announcing that Roderick Piper and David Flair have had Ric Flair declared incompetent. When Flair defies this, orders Piper fired. So one's the president and one's the commissioner. They're both trying to fire each other.
Right.
Piper announces Flair versus Kevin Nash for tonight. Let's stop right here. A court of law has deemed that Ric Flair is not mentally fit to serve as president of this company, a private organization. He is no longer competent to handle this. However, we can book him in a fight. That's okay.
At about this time, Charles Robinson comes out, much like the stagehand trying to get Living in America. What's the guy?
Eddie Murphy?
No,
James Brown.
James Brown.
Yeah.
Trying to get James Brown off the stage and drapes the robe
Yes.
on top of Flair, and he's still going.
Yeah. So Flair screams, "You're fired!" Piper says, "No, I'm not." And Flair says, "You're fired!" And Piper says, "No, I'm not." And this goes on for a while. Flair books himself against Piper at Slamboree, and if Piper wins, "You can run this damn company. You're fired, though." This keeps going on. Okay. Ordinarily, I would hate this segment.
Why?
Because it makes no sense.
Well, the bigger issue is this was death for business, but Flair was an awesome crazy guy.
Flair and Piper being crazy and shouting at each other was gold. Gold, I tell you.
You know, this was when Steve Austin turned heel. It absolutely tanked business.
Sure.
But goddamn, he was funny.
Yes.
That's exactly.
You're right, actually.
That's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Like nobody wanted to pay to see this Ric Flair, but goddamn, he was good at being this Ric Flair.
Yes.
It's life.
Yeah, that's the Piper tried to leave. Flair and his boxers chased him down, and they briefly brawled in the aisle, and they went to commercial.
I'm sure they just called that on the fly.
I'm sure he did too.
Flair wanted to take
Piper probably thought it was a fan when somebody tapped her on the shoulder.
in his underwear.
The B-teamers meet Conan.
Oh my God, this was amazing. Conan's in the hallway. He's walking down the hallway. There's the NWO B team.
Mm-hmm.
They stop him. He looks around. Shit.
Yeah.
They begin to surround him. Start asking him questions. He knows he's fucked. He still tries to walk away, but he's fucked. They jumped him and they beat his ass. A message, they said, from Kevin Nash.
That's what happened.
The babyface Kevin Nash.
Well, Nash denied
I see.
any of this later.
Okay, so they go to break, and then Tony Schiavone comes back and tries to explain the Ric Flair Roddy Piper promo. I transcribed every single word.
Oh, really?
Are you ready?
Please.
Ric Flair has now been deemed incompetent and is no longer president. But he still fired Roddy Piper. But he said he'll fire him after he fights him at Slamboree when they go one-on-one, which Piper agreed to. But Ric Flair, who is fired and is no longer president because he's incompetent, but has fired Piper, and they wrestle at Slamboree on May 9th, will still wrestle tonight against Big Sexy Kevin Nash on this program. This is my favorite Nitro ever, I decided.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Better than the announcers yelling at each other?
That was a great one, too. This just,
Fuck, if you like this show, Vinny, it's going to be a fun 2 years.
this just went into such complete absurdity. And I love absurdity.
Oh, just wait, dude. We should be watching Thunder then.
Maybe we should.
No.
Once Nitro's dead,
No.
it's going to be Raw and Thunder.
There.
So I was giddy about that four-way. I was giddy about the Flair Piper promo. I was giddy about Schiavone transcribing the Flair Piper promo. And then out come Brian Knobbs versus Hack in a trash can kendo stick match. I was pumping my fist with joy. Couldn't wait for
Oh,
this.
yeah?
Yes.
This sucked.
It did, but it was wonderful.
Oh, get out of here.
This was two clumsy dudes hitting each other in the head with weapons for about 5 minutes, and one of them got pinned.
Oh, God, this was horrible. Like, think about this.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm getting ahead of myself.
They hired the fucking Sandman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He never wins.
that's true.
He's out here having shitty matches. They bring back Brian fucking Knobbs.
Yes.
Even he is beating Hack.
Yes.
Just have a-
Never had a singles match on Nitro before, let alone won one.
they have a horrific match. I'm begging for the Road Dogg. At one
Road
point,
Dogg was great at these.
somebody does a move, and Tony says, and I quote, A knee in the butt talks.
Yes.
Even I've never said that. A knee in the butt talks.
I wrote it down. A knee in the butt talks. And then I realized if you read this and didn't see the show, you would think he was saying that the knee is doing the talking.
No.
He meant the buttocks. He just pronounced it butt talks.
Oh, so he's saying like it's wisdom. A knee in the butt talks.
I suppose it's a lesson
That's not wisdom. He hit him in the butt talks.
with his knee.
Yes. Then Bam Bam threw, hack off the top, lands face first on a ladder. These fucking guys killed each other.
They absolutely did.
Vinny laughs about this, but this was a life-shortening match.
To be fair, I did write down, I am going to ignore the long-term repercussions of these headshots and just say this was a fun garbage
Oh,
match.
Christ, this sucked.
Both of them are live today, by the way.
Yes.
Have you seen the Sandman?
Have you seen Brian? Actually, we did.
Did you see the
Brian
men?
Knox.
Yes. We did see him.
Yeah,
Is this where the wrestling show is?
we saw the Nasty Boys.
I'm like, well, we're at the fucking
Orleans.
building, and there's wrestling in there. Yes, this is where the wrestling matches are.
Randy Savage did a backstage promo saying this was the most recent time in his career. Word.
Yes.
It's true.
He hyped up the gorgeous George Charles Robinson match and then brought in Medusa. Her return to the company. Randy says she'll be training George for the match. Medusa says she has always wanted to wrestle him, or had always wanted to wrestle a man. Would be proud to help George make a statement.
You missed the most important things here. Savage is cutting a promo to build up a match at a pay-per-view between Gorgeous George and Charles Robinson. He builds up this match by saying, George is beautiful, but she's never had a match.
Yes.
She's had no matches.
Yeah, his exact words.
Is there a problem with that?
Then Medusa shows up, and she actually says, when I am done training Gorgeous George, she will be able to beat any man in WCW.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
She'll beat Goldberg.
Apparently.
She'll beat Sting.
I guess so.
She'll beat Meng.
Well, Meng
I don't think that
Meng is a
happened.
monster, not a man.
That's true.
So he's off the list. So earlier you mentioned Ric Flair was everyone's dad. When the B-teamers are hanging out in the locker room and in walks Kevin Nash in his plaid button-up and jorts and sandals, looking like dad just finished working the grill. The steaks are ready. He looked like dad coming in for the barbecue. So he was upset they had given a message to Conan. He knew nothing about this. Scott Steiner interrupts. He says he should be getting a title shot instead of Kevin Nash.
He says, DDP's tramp hit me with a chair last week. You know I would have won. So if you don't change the championship match from you to me, you're going to get it.
That's right. He left and Nash blew him off. Then Stevie Ray steps up and says, Nash, we know what you're doing behind our back. I don't. Do you
I
guys
don't
have a
either.
clue?
I don't
I don't
think
know what the hell he's
I don't
talking
think
about.
Stevie does.
And then they said they were going to take out Scott Norton here tonight.
Yes, they said they had taken out Conan earlier. Now they're going to take out Scott Norton later.
I didn't see that.
I think.
That's
Well,
what they said.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Did I miss them taking him out later or even trying?
You have confirmed what I thought they said.
Yes.
Because it made no sense then and it makes no sense now. Buff Bagwell comes out for a promo.
Oh, we forgot to mention earlier that Berlin has debuted in the crowd.
Oh, that's right. He was in the four-way. Yes.
Tony Schiavone, of all people, recognized him as Alex Wright.
That's true.
So he's watching this match with his former dancing dildo partner against Buff Bagwell.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about that.
I did not put two and two together.
I did.
So Buff Bagwell versus Disco Inferno. Just the most basic, fun, old-school pro wrestling match.
Yeah, it was fine.
This is like the 1980s opener here on Nitro. Body slams and hip tosses and atomic drops. Shine, heat, comeback finish. Simple. Buff avoids the stunner, which is now called the last dance, and hits a running blockbuster for the win. This is good stuff. Scott Steiner came out with some women. And I will add, by the way, much hotter than the Godfather's women.
I was
This evening.
thinking
Yes.
that same thing.
You're
It's not
absolutely
even his
right.
gimmick.
No. Well,
Where is Godfather getting these women?
strip clubs,
No. No.
bad strip clubs,
No.
the afternoon strip club. Rob says yes.
fiendishly pointing.
I don't know where they're coming from, but come on.
The
now.
afternoon crew.
So Scott cuts this awesome promo on Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Says, your ego's so big, it's blurring your vision of reality. You were a guy putting on a G-string and being an exotic dancer before we found you. You didn't belong in the NWO. When he got tired of having a cheerleader and left Buff laying, there's a reason nobody else in the NWO stepped up to help him. Says when Buff was born, his mama wanted a girl, but she got Buff instead. And this made Buff crazy. Real men, he says, don't wax their eyebrows. And they aren't Chippendales dancers. Started calling him Boy Bagwell. Says Boy Bagwell's really hot. He's flaming. He'd enjoy beating the hell out of him later. And the whole time, the crowd's chanting steroids at him. So he just flexes. He just feeds it. This is awesome.
Yeah, he says you need a name that fits your feminine personality. So how about Boy Bagwell?
Yeah, it's Scott Steiner.
It is. Fans chanted steroids throughout all of this and throughout his entire match.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Raven versus Kidman. Very short.
Oh, God.
Raven beat him up. Kidman tried a shooting star press. Raven blocked it with a chair, and then Benoit and Malenko attacked both men for the DQ.
All you know is there were 9 million guys brawling here, and Bobby Heenan threw out the line, who's on whose side?
Well, that's not a good...
Goddamn good question.
That's a great point, actually.
I have no idea who's on whose side. I presume they're just building up a 3-way tag title feud.
Well,
it
was very convoluted.
If you look at the way they were dressed, Kidman and Raven should have been on the same team.
Yes, they were both wearing jorts. Raven, or Saturn was in a dress, so he'd be his own team.
Sure.
And then Ray is in pajamas, basically. He's also his own team. And Benoit and Malenko looked like wrestlers. Yeah, but it was a very intense brawl, but I can easily see how you could lose track of what was going on. Scott Norton versus Scott Steiner.
Well, I was happy when this came on.
So the announcers are very surprised. And again, it's Lucha Underground, where there's a backstage skit they don't see. They say Conan was supposed to be in this match against Scott Steiner, but they don't know why he's not there, but here's Scott Norton to wrestle Scott Steiner instead, which makes no sense because, again, they're both in the NWO.
Right.
Did not stop them from having the meanest guy match of all time.
Sure.
You know, like 17 years later, Lucha Underground decided we're going to do the same thing. The announcers don't know what's happening unless it happens right in front of them. It sucks. The announcers should know what's going on. Yeah. That's their job.
Yes.
So they can tell us what the fuck's going on.
Right.
I don't want my announcers to be confused. I shouldn't be smarter than the announcers.
No.
And I always am.
So, these two bulls are just clobbering each other for several minutes. Deafening steroid chants, so Scott just keeps on flexing. And then Norton goes for the shoulder breaker. So he's got him basically in like a powerbomb position, and he goes, "Ah!" And when he goes, "Ah!" the ref gets bumped, but the ref bumps like a minute early.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he has to throw his head back into Scott's arm and then fall down. Hey, if you're gonna fuck up, at least fuck up so it's funny. So the ref is down, and Steiner hits a low blow, and then gets his feet on the ropes for the pin and wins.
That's his new thing.
Yeah, so where's the NWO beating up, is this he's a Wolfpack guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steiner's a Wolfpack guy. Norton's a black and white guy.
Yeah, so I'm still upset about why the NWO never beat up Norton like they claimed. Did they forget that they were going to do that?
Maybe they just figured Scott would do their work for them. Scott Steiner would do their work for them.
He pinned him in a wrestling match with a wrestling hold.
He cheated to do it.
He didn't take him out.
No. Kevin Nash came out, threatened to give Flair the beating of his life. He wished well to Hulk Hogan, who was going in for knee surgery, promised to break Page's back, and teased a match against Goldberg if Goldberg wins the title tonight.
We're 1-1. We've got the Thrilla in St. Louis. Coming up in 2 weeks.
Rolls off the tongue.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he did that on purpose.
How about the Bruises in St. Louis? Is that not better?
You know, if Granny would have gotten that on one of her contest things, you would have yelled at the guy.
Clueless in St. Louis.
The Worry in Missouri.
Kevin, there you go. The Worry in Missouri. I like Clueless in St. Louis because Nash sucks.
Kevin Nash versus Ric Flair.
Although he was okay in this match because he was in there with Ric Flair.
It was exactly what you expect. Flair got his ass kicked, took a bunch of 7-foot backdrops. Finally, Charles Robin pretends to have something in his eye.
Let me tell you how good Ric Flair is. Everybody loved Ric Flair.
Yes.
Nash is immobile. By the time this match was over, everybody was into Nash and they hated Flair.
Correct.
That is an excellent professional wrestler.
That's outstanding. So yes, the Flair's offense was working over Nash's knee and occasionally balls. And as noted, Flair was such a great heel, everyone cheered Nash's comeback.
What I love about Flair is Flair does the same things in like every match,
Yeah.
right? And every now and then, you'll see him do something he doesn't normally do. Like Ric Flair doesn't take a lot of Hurricane Ranas.
No.
So he took that Hurricane Rana from Rey Mysterio at Club La Vela. He has a flip bump off the ropes and just lays flat as a board dead. Who sells like that? Just Ric Flair. It was funny.
Yeah.
So he rarely takes power bombs.
Yeah.
Well, in this match, he had to take a power bomb. And so Nash lifts him up and power bombs him. And Flair takes a flat back bump, which he doesn't normally do, by the way. Usually lands on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Right.
Flat back bump, does a full zombie sit-up, stares off into the ether, and then falls back flat again, and he's dead.
In a snow angel pose.
It was a fucking great bump.
Yes.
I love when Flair does something new, and he always does it so wacky.
He's never subtle.
No. This power bomb he took was so great.
It's not in the man's vocabulary.
No. So Nash hits the power bomb, but Charles Robinson, of course, is the crooked ref. He won't count, so he hits the floor and starts to leave. He is laid out from behind by Gorgeous George. She tears off his referee shirt.
Hold on a minute. Like last week, she shows up with Randy Savage, and I can't even describe what she's wearing, but like she's smoldering.
Yes.
She fucking runs out this week. If this were WWE, she'd have run out in like an evening gown and then tore everything off so she's in her bra and panties and then put on a ref shirt.
Yeah.
She fucking runs out in overalls.
It was the 90s.
Oshkoshes.
She was a fly girl,
Covered head to toe.
like TLC.
She was like Left Eye.
Puts on this ref shirt. Actually was a hell of a ref. Not going to lie. Got in there, counted
She
the pin.
had one pin to count.
Yeah, it was good. Some people can't referee, Vinny.
She made it to 3. Ooh.
Vinny, how many times did you have the most idiotic referee in your matches?
Oh,
Numerous.
Exactly. So the
Numerous
point
times.
is she was not bad.
okay.
We had a ref one time. Remember, it was Nick and Matt, and they were brawling outside, and this guy was a worker. And the ref counted all the way to 10, and he disqualified both of them, and that wasn't the finish.
That sounds like an indie show. So Nash stayed down for all of this. He was killed by the powerbomb. Like 3 minutes went by. Nash puts a foot on Flair's chest. George counts 1, 2, 3. Nash pins Flair and wins. So Nash and George leave. Out come doctors in white coats with a stretcher. Now, they did not have a backboard or a neck brace or oxygen or any of that.
No,
It was just like a bed on a cart.
because he was being committed,
Yes.
They had,
not injured.
They had
You
white
picked
coats
up.
on.
They had white coats on. You
Yes.
picked up on it. All the viewers picked up on it. The announcers did not.
No.
Neither did Ric Flair nor Charles Robinson.
They had everything but the butterfly net.
We can only hope. Arn's screaming at them to be careful. They're just manhandling Flair out of the ring and onto the stretcher.
He's asking, where's the oxygen?
Well, then
Where's the life support?
You're jumping ahead.
I apologize.
As they're wheeling him out of the building, Piper is there to taunt Ric Flair, who still has shown no signs of life. For all we know, he may have passed on. And Piper's there screaming, "Who's fired now?" All the doctors are telling him to go away. They wheel him out, down the aisle, through the hallways, out of the building, to a van.
Yes, a cargo van.
This is like I don't know. It's a white cargo. Yeah, this is not a
Family van.
It's not a surface meant to be laid down on.
Sure.
It looks very uncomfortable.
Sure.
And they yank Flair out of this stretcher into the van. Here's where Arn says, "Where's all the life support stuff? Where's the oxygen?"
We'll get it later.
They say he's okay. And they slam the doors of the van, revealing signs reading Central Florida Mental Hospital. And Arn starts banging on the doors, and Flair springs to life. He's slapping on the windows from the inside, and then the van drives him off to the loony bin. This was glorious. This was awesome.
Yeah, till they lost millions of viewers to Raw at this exact moment.
Sure.
They didn't even stay for Goldberg DDP.
And they should
They
have.
thought this was so stupid.
And
They
they were
skipped
right.
a Goldberg Championship World Title main event to watch Raw.
That happened. Piper, by the way, is screaming at Flair, "You'll be okay. They have basket weaving and plenty of PG videos to watch." Hey, if you don't, I mean, like we've said this before, this company died, and we know this. We may as well laugh at their death.
Well, there's going to be a lot of that coming up.
Oh boy. Goldberg versus DDP
This match was awesome.
with Dusty Rhodes at the announce desk.
So it was a very, very good match. I mean, DDP put it together.
The heat was insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
The announcers were often drowned out by the crowd. So Goldberg kept beating him up. He avoided a few diamond cutters, but was basically in control, but he couldn't keep Page down. Hit a couple of spears, still couldn't keep Page down. So Goldberg misses a spear and hits the corner, and Page finally hits the diamond cutter. Goldberg kicks out. And the ref sort of gets bumped. Page
Sort of gets bumped. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it didn't look
Sort of. He got killed.
He was murdered.
Goldberg kicked out. Page rolled over onto the ref.
Okay.
No.
This was before.
I see.
Vinny's right, actually.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking
Oh
about.
my God.
Yes.
There were 2 bumps, and the first one was not good.
No.
Goldberg sets up for the spear later.
Yeah.
And basically, Page pulls the ref in front of him.
He sure
Yes.
did.
And Goldberg spears through the referee,
Yes. He still speared Page.
cutting him in half and killing Diamond Dallas Page.
That's right.
It was awesome.
It was
And
pretty great.
Vince is here telling us the ref barely
We
got
were talking
bumped.
about
I know
different
you
things.
jackass, but I couldn't figure out what you were talking about.
So the ref is now down, convincingly.
You don't say.
Yeah.
So Page has beaten Goldberg with the gimmick, and he starts attacking him with... He's working over his knee with banging into the stairs and putting the stairs on top of the knee and hitting him with a chair. So a second ref comes out, and he's on the apron, but the camera follows Page, and the ref disappears. But Page thinks the ref is behind him.
He's not.
And the idea is Page will lift the chair way over his head.
Is
and the
that
ref
what
will
happened?
grab it.
Yes.
I actually thought that when he lifted the chair over his head, it got caught on the ring post because I couldn't figure out what happened.
Page swings the chair up and it hesitates and
I
it holds
see.
it. It looked like maybe the post was magnetic and yanking the chair away from him. And finally he looks up and there's no ref, and so he just hits Goldberg.
Yeah.
And he looks around and he makes sure the ref is there. He holds the chair up, and the ref grabs it. Then Page swings and the ref goes flying into the guardrail. So let's see. Then he goes to put Goldberg in the ring post figure 4, but Kevin Nash runs out to make the save. What? I don't know.
Well, he's a babyface, so he wants to make sure that Goldberg is not injured for their match they're going to have
Well, yeah.
at the Snoozer in St. Loser, whatever we were calling it.
So Page hits Nash with the belt and leaves, and Nash sells briefly, but then pops right back up. And did I mention that before Page laid out Nash, that Goldberg and Nash had what I can only call a tender embrace?
Yeah.
The cradling his head.
Yeah.
You know, there are positives and negatives to scripting a match from start to finish. And the positive is, this was a very good match. Mm-hmm. The negative is, when you script a match with a guy like Goldberg, who's used to very, very short, non-scripted matches, like they got a couple of spots or whatever, but when something goes wrong, boy, does it go wrong. And there were a couple of spots in this match where shit went wrong, and it looked really weird. But overall, one of Goldberg's better WCW matches, so a thumbs up.
Absolutely.
This battle here.
Best Nitro in a long time.
I'd say so. All right, are you ready, Vinny?
I am prepared, sir.
All right, which one were we using? 20? Let's try 20.
That's it.
The finishes on this show were clean submission, clean pin in a hardcore match, clean pin, DQ due to interference, pin after a low blow with the feet on the ropes, clean pin despite a bunch of shenanigans, and no finish in the main event.
Wow, not bad.
That wasn't bad.
Not bad.
Wait till we do that for Raw. The show was not as good as Nitro.
No.
There was some good stuff on it.
Raw. Oh, if I did not give the episode number or the date for that Nitro. Well, it's April 12th, 1999.
19th.
Everyone can just go back, like,
Fuck.
you know,
You're right.
19 years
Is
this
it
week.
307? Was Raw 307 or 308? I don't know.
Oh, God. Did you watch the wrong one?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I got here and you were watching.
Okay. I was watching last week's.
Yeah, right. A hearse drove into the arena.
All right, it's the same one.
I assumed it would be The Undertaker. I was wrong.
I was glad because I finally saw the footage from the end of last week's show that my Apple TV cut off.
That's right.
Rock throwing some fell off a bridge.
Yeah.
And then the belt into the water.
Right.
They claimed.
They claimed. So Rock's driving this hearse, and they've got a whole setup. There was no stage or ramp this week because they needed a room over on the side for a grave. They had a big, giant mound of dirt and a casket and all this stuff. So Rock cuts this promo. He threw Austin off the bridge. He threw the belt off the bridge. There'll be a funeral for Steve Austin's career tonight. And that was it.
Yeah.
Road Dogg versus Owen Hart. So they come out there, and then Dogg issues a challenge.
Who are the tag team champions?
X-Pac and Kane.
That's right.
Yeah.
They weren't on the show.
No, never mentioned.
There should have been a storyline where they're like in the back and they can't find one of the tag belts. That would have played into the overall storyline of the show.
Of missing belts?
No, because Rock threw a belt into the water, but we found out it wasn't the skull belt.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They could have foreshadowed it.
Yeah, they weren't making the championship belts that I saw all over New Orleans.
No.
Yet.
So, Dogg issues a challenge. These two teams of Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart and the New Age Outlaws have a number one contendership match coming up at the pay-per-view. But Dogg says, if you, Owen Hart, beat me tonight in this here singles match, then you and Jarrett will be the top contenders. But if I win, me and the whole world get to see Deborah's puppies. I believe...
Her boobies, not her dogs.
Right.
Yeah, I believe it was the first time they used puppies in this show. At least that term.
And Deborah was totally fine with this.
Deborah had no problem.
No, Road
She's
Dogg.
probably cheering for Road Dogg.
He issued her challenge, and Owen went over, and Deborah's like, let's do it.
Yep. So they had a fun 3-minute match, and then Road Dogg wins clean with a pump handle slam.
Yes.
We had a saying for girls like her in high school. Date them.
So Deborah gets in the ring, happy as, frankly, a clam. She's not a care in the world here about having to remove her clothing. So she's about to disrobe
She wasn't going to show her clam.
when
Right?
Jeff Jarrett runs out.
Can't believe you said that.
It's a saying, happy as a clam. Jeff Jarrett runs out, puts a stop to all this nudity. Everyone boos. And
Deborah was distraught to not be able to show her boobs on live television.
she paid
So
a lot
was
of money
Jarrett.
for those things.
So was Jerry.
Yes. Undertaker orders the acolytes to take care of the brood.
Do not fail me. Why is that so funny? That's what he said.
Because you are not the Undertaker.
No, I wasn't trying to be. I was just saying what he said.
Well, it is true. If you write down what Undertaker says and just repeat it, it's
It's
hysterical.
preposterous.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. Rock is backstage rehearsing his eulogy, which only The Rock can make funny. Edge and Gangrel versus the Acolytes.
This was such a boring-ass match.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You got the heat on Gangrel, and the crowd did not have much sympathy for this vampire in peril.
What I thought was funny was Edge gets a hot tag.
Sorta.
He does like one move, and then he eats the clothesline from hell.
And they kill him.
I thought, you're such a fucking jobber. But then I realized that's not Bradshaw's finish yet.
I guess
It
not.
was just a move.
He just clotheslined him.
But man, looking at it with 2018 eyes, it was like, this is the worst comeback I've ever seen.
It
You
was-
like hit the ring and ate the guy's finish.
It was a shitty comeback.
Yeah.
He did like one or two moves and took a clothesline and was dead. And then Ken Shamrock runs out with a baseball bat.
It took forever to get down there because the Acolytes are just standing around waiting for him.
Yep.
And they have nothing to do, so they're just like holding on Edge's pretty hair. And finally, Shamrock runs down and starts hitting everyone with his baseball bat.
So he lays out Bradshaw in the ring with a bat. He goes outside and starts hitting stuff with a bat. I think somebody pinned Bradshaw in the ring.
No, I think it was a no contest.
No, it was DQ.
It was a DQ.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Fix your damn report. We don't want to screw it up for the people later.
See, Shamrock ran in,
it
hit Bradshaw,
was a DQ.
hit Bradshaw with the bat. Therefore,
Well, that does sound like a disqualification.
Yes.
They didn't ring the bell for a while after.
I thought no contest.
All right. So Taker's pissed off backstage, throwing a tantrum, throwing shit everywhere, and Paul Bearer is trying to be the voice of reason. It wasn't really their fault. He hit them with a damn bat. And he's right.
he's got a point.
Yeah, but he should know better than to try to reason with The Undertaker.
So it failed. And then during the break, the Acolytes tried to plead their case to the Undertaker, but Undertaker and Viscera beat them up, laid them out, and put the boots to them.
All right, according to ProWrestling.wikia.com, it was, in fact, a no contest.
All right. I'm going to go to the end of my report here then.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see. Not pin after no interference with the baseball bat. No contest
Yes.
after interference with the baseball bat.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, back to...
Let's not give them too much credit for finishes.
No, in fact, you've made an amazingly shitty finish report even worse.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't do it. I'm just sticking to the facts right here.
Godfather versus Hardcore Holly.
The women.
Rough.
Oh, man, were they ever.
Ref gets bumped in a minute. This is not, by the way, Bob Holly's the hardcore champion, but it's only an Intercontinental title match.
So no plunder is allowed.
Right.
But somehow there was plunder all over the place by the end of this.
A minute in, they just break out all the weapons. Why not just do all the hardcore matches?
I don't know.
So they use cookie sheets and a broom and a chair.
And an Al Snow.
Okay.
A head.
Ref recovers and I'm going to read my notes. Ref recovered and counted 2, but Goldust yanked Godfather out of the ring. Al Snow showed up and hit Holly with head, and Godfather pinned him. Godfather laid out Goldust, and Holly chased out through the crowd. I hated every single solitary second of the segment with every fiber of my being. Everything that sucked about the Attitude Era was on perfect display right here.
Wow. I didn't think it was that bad, but it sucked.
Wow, it sucked.
Hey, you know what?
Don't hold back. How do you feel?
It's
I'll read it again.
It's been one goddamn week, and I already had blocked out of my mind that Godfather won the Intercontinental title.
I did the same thing too.
Dude.
Godfather's music's playing, and they say this will be an Intercontinental title match. I'm thinking, who is the champion now?
It's fucking him.
And look, he's got the belt on.
It was last week. I think it was last week. God damn. Under 1 week, I can't remember this bullshit. They changed the title so much.
This wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was really funny. Undertaker on his cellular phone.
An early cellular telephone adopter. The Undertaker.
Yeah. It was not like Paul Heyman's
It was one of those
brick-sized cell phone.
little flip phone with a little antenna that you
Craig,
pulled out.
it's even more preposterous.
Yeah, why didn't he summon him or something?
No. Midian is on his cell phone.
Yeah, you're right.
That's even weirder than the Undertaker.
We don't know. It may have been a payphone.
Couldn't they do telepathy or something?
We
they
don't
are the
see
ministry.
Midian on the phone. I would have said this is more the recent years Undertaker, where he's more the Old West motif.
Okay.
But he got the phone on the wall with the 2 bells on top and the hand thing you crank.
You know, I miss those old school, cool looking flip phones.
Really?
That's one of the early phones that I had. It was something like that, and the phone was so cool.
You know, I dropped
Didn't do a damn thing, and I hated talking on the phone, but it was cool.
I dropped some electronics off at a recycling thing a while ago, and there's a big stack of flip phones. I thought, you know, if you have an iPad and a wireless account for that iPad, so you can use the tablet for all your stuff.
Sure.
A flip phone actually makes a lot more sense. You don't need a tablet and a mini tablet that also makes calls. Now, my iPad doesn't have wireless; it's just all of an iPhone. But anyway, so yes, Undertaker made a phone call, reached out and touched someone. It was Midian. Do not fail me, or you will face penance at the hands of the Lord of Darkness.
He said this on a cell phone.
You also didn't sound like the Undertaker right there.
Much less like the Undertaker. A woman with Shining Rock's shoes. Rock badmouthed her.
What a dick.
Yeah.
Just a worker.
This would not fly in 2018.
No.
Promised not to hurt Austin tonight. He was going to wait till Backlash. Ken Shamrock versus the Big Boss Man. I will say this. These fuckers could throw punches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, it's quite possible they were just clobbering each other in the face all night long.
Well,
wouldn't surprise me at all.
I mean, they could throw punches, but it's Ken Shamrock versus Ray Traylor.
Yeah.
Ken Shamrock tackles this guy. The Big Boss Man immediately sweeps Ken Shamrock.
Anything can happen in the WWF.
Ken Shamrock and is punching him in the fucking face. How does Ken Shamrock escape the mount? Through professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Bullshit.
So Shamrock hits a Frankensteiner out of nowhere and the belly-to-belly suplex for the win. As soon as the ref counts 3, Taker appears on screen. Says he couldn't believe Ken Shamrock would leave his sister all alone in a run-down hotel outside of Lansing. Threatens to go knock on the door on room 223. And Shamrock screams and goes sprinting to the back.
This Undertaker is a creep. Like, some should be done
You've
about
cracked
this
the code.
guy. Yeah, what the fuck's going on? He's allowed at work every week?
I need to write this down.
It is amazing.
And can we mention about how at the beginning of the show, Rock apparently showed up hours early?
Yeah.
He showed up with, like, thousands of pounds of fucking dirt.
A truck full of dirt.
He dug a goddamn grave. Like, this is preposterous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You don't see him wheeling that in and
No!
It has been like a month now where Ryan Shamrock is just Undertaker's victim and nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when there's like a buried alive match, it's like the company's building the mound of dirt.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
This was Rock.
Yes.
Rock's like, I gotta get there early today. I gotta bring in a bunch of fucking dirt. Oh, okay, sure.
And then
we'll leave the door unlocked.
And then call a funeral home, get a casket and arrangement. And,
This is stupid.
I did notice this hearse they had was not the smoothest running engine I've ever heard.
No.
I'm surprised it made it all the way into the arena.
And hey, you know what? I got to give Ken Shamrock some credit.
I'm sure they threw it in with a casket, actually.
Kenny here learned from his father figure, Vince. Don't bring the girl to the building.
Right.
He left her outside Lansing.
He could have left her with his family in California.
That
wherever.
would have been smarter, but he's an MMA fighter.
I'm sure she would have been safe with Frank.
In this storyline,
Yes.
he's like a caveman.
All the Shamrocks. Mankind versus Triple H.
This should have been so much more.
I describe this here as a long, forgettable mid-Raw match.
Yeah, just a match. Although when Big Show came out and chokeslammed Hunter,
Yeah.
that was a hell of a chokeslam that guy
was.
gave him.
So China interferes a few times. The second time she just yanks Mankind's nuts into the post for the DQ.
I can't tell which is growing more rapidly, her boobs or Triple H.
They're both Triple H, actually.
He was easily 5 or 10 pounds bigger than last week.
Yeah. So my only comment was you couldn't have done this finish 5 minutes ago. If you're going to do a DQ, just get to the point. So the corporation's out there, the Pies is out there, they're all stomping Mankind. Out comes Big Show to make the save. Hunter is calling shots for the corporation, and it is Test who takes this chokeslam, which is actually more impressive because he's even bigger than Hunter.
Huge.
But yes, when Big Show, it happened 2 or 3 weeks in a row now, he takes these guys, he just holds them up in the air, and Test is 6'6", and his legs are sticking straight up to the sky. It's like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And he gets chokeslammed to death.
Did we mention the Mean Street Posse's doing commentary?
We glossed over it.
Yeah, they sucked.
And this is not their best week.
No.
Rodney and Mr. Gas were not on.
No.
Pete and Rod
Yeah.
didn't do very well.
So Mankind cuts a promo. He thanks Show for the assist. Says we still have a date in 6 days in the boiler room. And Show agrees.
Not just any boiler room. His
Boiler room.
boiler room.
He carries it with him like Rock's dirt.
This is a very strange build for a feud.
Yeah.
Rock is at his limo. He also has a cellular phone. Mm-hmm. He's running down Austin.
He's also talking about his new car, which he just purchased. Nearly $40,000, he notes.
Yeah.
It's a very important detail.
Yeah.
Cars have gone up in value over the years. Do you know that?
It's true. Billy Gunn versus Jeff Jarrett. Gunn cuts a promo on Jarrett where he talks about how he stopped Deborah from stripping, and then Billy Gunn accused Jeff Jarrett of stopping people from seeing TNA.
Right.
Irony.
I hadn't thought about that.
So, Owen comes out and attacks Billy on the floor. Road Dogg runs out and chases him away. The ref's dealing with all of this, and Owen and Jarrett are double teaming Billy. Just all this bullshit. Billy's about to make a cover. Deborah opens her jacket.
God.
Billy moons her.
She pulls out her boobs, and his response is to pull down his pants and bend over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not the proper response.
He's Mr. Ass. I don't know what to tell
None
you.
of these are proper responses to anything.
That's fair.
No, normal people don't do any of this shit.
No, this is ridiculous.
So
I can't suspend my disbelief.
So he pulls his trunks back up, hits the fame asser on Jeff, and then Owen attacks with a DQ.
Ironic, by the way.
This show really is awful. I wrote right here at this moment. This is where I cracked.
It sure was. So I will also add, by the way, Jerry Lawler being the over horny 13-year-old going crazy at the idea breasts might be shown. It was annoying here and would be annoying for the next 20 years.
Jeff Jarrett at the end of this match grabbed his guitar and you thought he was going to El Kabong the Mr. Ass. But no, he covered Deborah.
He was blocking her with the guitar.
The match is
guitar.
over.
He would have needed a double bass.
The match is over. Deborah is just all set to disrobe anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm out here. I bought these things. May as well show them off.
You don't buy a new car and keep it in the garage.
No. But yes, Jarrett stopped her with his musical instrument and they left. There's a producer backstage who asks Rock, do you want to do an interview with .com?
.com. He's like, what's .com?
What is .com?
Even back then, that's what they called it.
Yeah.
.com.
Now, he did figure it out, but he
Like
called
there's only one website on the planet.
well, it's theirs.
I noticed
She's not going to ask him to do an interview with TMZ.
Well, no, but .com.
I noticed that on the Titantron, it's got the WWE.com logo, and under this it says download this.
Yes. Well, that was there. Wasn't that a radio show?
I think it was.
Because Bite This was the show.
Oh, that's right.
So Rock calls this producer a skank, tells her to go get him some food.
What a jerk.
Rock was really a dick.
He was
These
very
people.
rude.
Big Show versus Viscera. exceeded my expectations.
What? What were your expectations? Minus 10 stars?
Fatality.
This was so fucking horrific.
Viscera was actually, I think he was narrower than Big Show here. It was close. He was moving. He could hit the ropes, take bumps and stuff. The Show signaled for the choke slam. Lights go out.
Oh, God.
Taker comes out to the ring. Taker and Show tease, chokes them each other, but Viscera jumps Show from behind.
Oh, my God. Undertaker hits the ropes, a house of fire, puts on the brakes, and he grabs Show by the neck.
Yeah.
So Show, this is self-defense. You grab my neck, I'll grab your neck.
I'm sure you teach this in your jiu-jitsu class.
I'll grab your neck back.
If someone tries to chokeslam you, chokeslam them.
Yeah, you try and lift me, I'll lift you. That didn't happen, though.
No.
One of these days we're going to get that double choke.
I have been watching giant men tease the double chokeslam for 20 years now. I still haven't gotten it.
I feel like we've seen it once.
No.
Or maybe that was a double big boot.
Double big
Double
boot
big
we've
boots
seen.
Yeah.
many times, but never the double choke slam.
A tragedy.
It would be preposterous, but it would
It
be
would
awesome.
make zero sense, but I would laugh.
Dude, it'd make more sense than half this show here.
Well,
be
that's true.
It would be about as realistic as the side effect that Matt Hardy does.
That's realistic.
No.
You
Oh,
jump
come
up in the
on.
air and take a back bump, and he takes a back bump, but it hurts him more for some reason.
Sure.
What could be?
Well,
better
that's true
than
of
that?
most wrestling moves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two guys fall down, one gets hurt.
There's a hole in my idea. I apologize.
Anyway, they're beating up Show. Mankind runs out to make the save. Taker abandons Viscera to take the beating, and Mankind salutes Show and leaves. They recapped Shane turning on the McMahons last week, then did a live interview with Vince and Stephanie from WWF Studios. Hey, at least the dumbass didn't bring his daughter to the show this week. They're not at the arena. They're in Connecticut. So Vince talks about being on the road, building a business, missing a lot of Shane growing up, and Shane missed me a lot too. He'd always been proud of Shane until last Monday. And Steph is trying to talk about how
I don't know what to think anymore.
she doesn't know her own flesh and blood. She's got the biggest smile.
It's all pretty confusing.
Just
I'm not sure I know anybody anymore.
She is also happy as a clam, it turns out.
The only person who has stood by my side is my dad.
Yeah.
I feel safe and hope this can all come to an end soon.
It sucks. This is very shitty.
Then some guy comes up and says there's a problem. And Vince, just fucking totally freaks out. The guy doesn't even tell him what the problem is. The problem could be Rock put a bunch of dirt in the building. Vince just hears there's a problem and he goes, you son of a bitch, god damn it. And he just jumps up and he's screaming, god damn you son of a bitch. And he's doing his walk, but he's trying to be real about it, you know what I mean? And he's so fucking uncoordinated. And he's running out of the building like this, all wacky, and he gets out there and he sees Midian, and he starts just throwing these terrible punches at Midian, kicks him in the balls. Midian falls down. Vince, you son of a bitch! He starts walking to get in the car. This was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. What's wrong with you?
That was comical, Brian.
Your Vince impression, it's funny because it's accurate.
It's exactly. If I could get up and try and run like he was running,
Don't do it. You'll tell your quads
I
like
couldn't.
he did.
He can't even begin to run.
No.
It's like his legs are fused.
So,
He just kind of waddles down like this. God, son of a bitch! And he's running like this down the fucking road.
so you're neglecting the part where he says, stay here, and he leaves her in the watchful, protective arms of Michael Cole.
Yeah.
I was certain that was going to be the swerve, and Vince would go out and do whatever, and he'd come back and Steph would be gone. So he kicks Midian's ass, tries to run him over with the car, misses, and Midian pulls him out of the car,
Just throws him. Vince goes, falls off screen.
and Midian drives away with Vince going, oh, son of a bitch! Now you see why it's funny.
It's just, this was the highlight of the show. Tough guy Vince going to save his daughter.
Oh, God. Val Venus came out for a promo. He made a dick joke. Sable came out. She says this match will have to wait. She has an announcement. In 2 weeks, she'll be...
Hold on. You be Sable. I'll be JR.
Oh, this is always gold.
You ready?
Yes. In 2 weeks, I'll be shooting my second edition of Playboy.
Well, I guess she's going to get naked again.
Yes. Like the opposite of enthusiasm that Cherry Lawler showed.
Yeah. You're goddamn right she's going to get naked
That
again.
is the point of the magazine,
She's
Jim.
shooting another edition of Playboy.
So Ivory and D'Lo Brown come storming out for whatever reason.
Why does Ivory have a purple silk all the time?
She just always has.
But why? Who can explain this to me?
Maybe she sweats.
That's not what color Ivory is.
No, Ivory is white. You're right.
Yeah.
But
Her name isn't Violet.
you got me there. I don't know. Maybe they were out of white scarves that day, and she just bought the first one at the front of the rack. Anyway, D'Lo brawls with Val, and Ivory does her best to brawl with Sable, but there's only so much you can do. Nicole Bass comes out to woman handle Ivory. She tries to do the exact same chokeslam the Big Show did. Didn't work. And D'Lo pulls Ivory out of the ring and carries her away. This was all shitty and pointless. Rock comes out for Austin's funeral. Bad mouths him a bit and reveals he is still wearing the Smoking Skull's belt. He threw something else off the bridge. Promises to bury the belt tonight and then bury Austin at Backlash. Suddenly, Steve Austin arrives in the parking lot in a monster truck.
Yes.
He gets out of the monster truck. He says, "Is this The Rock's car?" And the camera zooms out and there's a license plate that says The Rock.
That's what we call a tell.
Yeah. So he gets in Rock's car, pulls it out into the aisle, I guess, of the parking lot. Announces this, what's going on? Steve Austin has arrived in a monster truck and moved a car out of where it was. So Austin drives over the car in his monster truck.
Dude, they spent like 5 minutes teasing he was going to run it over.
Yeah.
He backs up, he zooms, but he goes past it. He backs up again. This time he zooms and he runs it over.
I think he may have legitimately missed it the first time.
I think they were just killing time to get a long overrun, because there was a long overrun in this show.
So he drives over it, goes around in a circle, goes over it again. Then he drives it into the building, drinks
Down a very, very narrow aisle again. Is this guy a professional driver?
It was Steve Austin driving this.
Yes.
This is not a stunt driver.
No, this was Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's
Driving
running
a
over
monster
cars.
truck. Yeah.
He's practically tipping the goddamn thing over. He's driving down these very narrow aisles with fans right next to the fucking car.
Yeah, he didn't go like all the way down the aisle, but he got to the point where the aisle, well, the fans get close. So yes, there were fans within 6 feet of these monster truck tires. So yeah, this could have gone very badly. He drinks a beer. He drives the truck over the hearse, climbs out, starts brawling with Rock, and Rock took a hell of a beating.
You know, as much as we bury this goddamn show, and as much as we bury the show every week, this right here is why they're winning.
Austin Rock.
Because Steve Austin and Rock is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, as we've mentioned a million times.
Yep.
It literally never gets old.
No.
Seeing Steve Austin kick The Rock's ass. Like every single Raw could have ended with Steve Austin kicking The Rock's ass. Nobody would have ever switched off.
No.
You could have done it literally forever. Steve Austin is such a great badass, and Rock sells so well.
He's so hateable.
His facial expressions, the bumps that he takes, he goes upside down on the guardrail and slides down.
That was the best part. There's the guardrail,
So
the old school
great.
metal guardrail, like a grate. And they're standing there, and I don't know if this is their plan, but it worked out perfectly. Rock goes flying upside down into said guardrail. It ends up leaning up against a wall or something, and Rock goes, boonk, and then slides down it just like a cartoon. Like a Tom and
Yeah.
Jerry. He slides down this thing onto his head.
No, you know what it is? It is literally the Road Runner
Yes.
and Wile E. Coyote.
Absolutely.
Because every time it's the same. At the end of every single show, you could have Rock and Austin in the middle of the ring. Austin gets all of his beer. He offers to toast The Rock.
Yes.
The Rock says, no, no, no. You're not going to stun me this time.
Yes.
Austin says, I cross my heart, hope to die. I ain't going to stun you this time. They have a beer, they play the music, they cheer, and then Austin fucking stuns the guy. And people go crazy every
time.
single fucking time.
You're missing a detail. Rock throws the first punch.
Of course. Yes. Of course.
Austin, as much as a Hellraiser as he is, he will be a man of his word.
Yes. But it literally never gets old.
Yes.
It's perfect. There's no swerve.
No.
When there was a swerve, like the day that he hugged Vince McMahon, they fucking nearly killed the company.
Yes.
But it's so great.
Yes.
It's worth watching this whole shitty show just to see Steve Austin kick The Rock's ass again.
So he destroys Rock, hits him with the belt, lays him out in the grave, pours beer on him, his music's played, he's got his belt back, he's celebrating, and I'm trying to think, Now, why in the hell would I buy this pay-per-view now?
Right.
I've seen the babyface get his revenge. Well, then Shane shows up and breaks a shovel over Austin's head, and Shane holds up the belt, so there you go. It's back now.
You buy the pay-per-view because it's going to be Rock versus Austin again, and Rock is going to get his ass kicked
We were just talking
again
about that,
by
yes.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's the best. But it's Austin, Rock, and Vince. It's the three of them.
Yep.
Because you can do the exact same thing with Vince McMahon, and it's just as good as the Steve Austin Rock stuff. Are you ready?
Are you ready for one shitty finishers report?
Am I ever?
The horrible finishes on this show were clean pin, but then no payoff on the stipulations involving puppies. No contest after interference with the baseball bat, I think.
Oh, it's definitely no contest.
For the IC title match, I simply wrote bullshit. Clean pin.
No.
There was one in there somewhere.
Yeah.
DQ due to nuts being yanked into post. DQ due to interference. And then in the main event, non-finish due to Undertaker.
Wow. Non-finish due to Undertaker in the main event? Oh, I guess the Rock thing wasn't even a match.
No.
It's just him doing a eulogy.
The Big Show and Viscera was the main event.
Yeah, that's god-awful. Well, we had The Rock and Austin. That made the whole thing worthwhile. All right, everybody, that's it from here. As noted, soon, video.f4wonline.com will be back, I hope. Trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So when it is, this video will be up. Every Bryan Vinny show from 2018 is up there right now. It's April, so we're talking like 35, 45 different shows you can go back and watch, including the Christmas show from last year. So check that out. F4wonline.com/shirts. Producer Rob wearing his -5-star shirt as well here today. Fitting on Retro Raw and Nitro night. And a bunch of other great shirts as well. And that is it. We will talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Adios.